Hey guys, Dylan here from Iceberg TV. Today we are going to go over all of the 14.5 speed, 24.5 millimeter rim distance drivers from MVP and Axiom. We'll do all of the MVP molds first, and then I do have the Delirium, the Tantrum, and the Excite here as well, so we will be checking those out after. But first, we have the Limit, we have the Teleport, which is a 14.5 minus 1.5, 2.5. We've got the Dimension, 14.503. And then we have two relativities. The relativity comes at a 14.5 minus 3 with a 1.5. So let's see how all of these things fly. I've thrown all of these a handful of times, but it is very windy out today, very gusty, very strong headwinds coming in. The Limit is known to be one of the most stable distance drivers ever made. So let's start it off with this one. I already know this thing's an absolute brick. So wildly overstable. Probably a disc designed for flick rollers, thumbers, and tomahawks, in my opinion. Now the next disc, the Teleport, clocking in at a 14.5 minus 0.52, has a little bit flatter profile than most of these. And I'm really curious to see if I can get this up to speed enough in this headwind to actually see that 1.5 turn. All right, not at all. For me, it's a 0.4. Not much turn to speak of on that one. Then we have the Dimension. This is Simon Lizotte's favorite driver from MVP. The one I have is pretty flat. Simon and Eagle and all them throw the old patent pending runs. I'll show you guys this right here. As you can see, it's pretty flat, not a ton of dome. The old school MVP and Axiom stuff has a ton of dome, but ever since they switched their production methods, haven't quite had the domey discs like they used to. Let's see how this Dimension's flying. Honestly, having a touch straighter flight than that Teleport I threw. These discs are fast, they're very mean, and they are very overstable. Next up is the Proton Relativity. This is the one I have the highest hopes of being able to turn. It's a 14.5, 5.5, minus 3 with a 1.5 fade. Let's see if we can get a little turn out of this thing. So far, that's the best flyer for me. Whoa, that went really far. Okay. So relativity might be my new secret weapon. This one feels like it's going to be a little more understable. All of these are 170 grams or higher. This is it says it's a neutron, but it's a very blendy, like proton-y, neutron-y relativity. Very, very cool disc. Let's see if it flies similar to that Proton one. Oh, I threw it super nose up. These 14.5 speeds are extremely unforgiving. Due to that extremely wide rim, once you let it catch wind underneath it, this rim is so wide, it's gonna fade extremely hard at the end of the flight. Let's try out the Excite, the Delirium, and the Tantrum. And I'll give you guys a quick example. Look how much dome these have in comparison to the other ones. The other ones were very flat. These have a ton of dome to them. And this is what the pros are looking for. Eagle and Simon are looking for that slight pop top, but still very overstable flight. Then we also do have the Delirium. The wind is really picking up right now. Let's go with the Delirium, the Tantrum, and then shout out to Tyler Wozniak. He's the one who gave me that Excite. Starting off with the Delirium. Okay, apparently I'm able to get the Delirium to turn a bit. That thing flies really nicely. That's the one I've thrown the most, and I've learned that I can actually get the Delirium to fly pretty straight. I feel like it's underrated as far as how good it is for actually shot shaping. So I can push that Delirium really straight. Now I've got the Tantrum here. I haven't thrown this thing in ages. Yeah, see? That went really far, really easily. That thing is in a class above the rest, and I do think it's due to that much more domey profile. This Excite also shares that similar profile and that same super wide rim. Yeah, look how much better that is, how much longer it's staying in the air. Tons of dome, tons of glide. an absolutely massive distance. Now, all of these molds, except for the discontinued ones, obviously you can get over at discgolfdealsusa.com/icebergtv, and then use the discount code icebergtv at checkout to just guarantee you're getting your 10% discount. Let's go throw these things a few more times. And after the first set of throws, I thought the Excite and the other domey one that we have was going to fly the farthest, the Tantrum here. We actually have a surprising victor in the first round, and it is the Proton Relativity going quite a bit farther than the rest, getting at least past the golf flag here, going at least 20 to 25 feet farther than everything else. Let's try again. And interestingly enough, this Teleport, although it does have a 1.5 turn, wasn't able to really find any turn and went by far the shortest of everything and was way more stable than the flight numbers would have led me on to believe. All right, let's throw all of the MVP options one more time, then we'll throw the Axiom options. All right, this Teleport, I gotta get a feel for this thing. Let's try and throw it on some forced Anheuser and see what happens. Yeah, that thing is very, very, very mean and overstable. Holy cow. That thing is a beefcake. The Teleport is way more stable than at least this dimension. This dimension actually seems throwable. Still stable, but I feel like it actually at least flies a little bit. My two favorites from the MVP lineup are definitely the Relativities. This Proton Relativity went the farthest by a mile last time. That thing really wants to go far. Yeah, just on a hyzer, it's going like past the golf flag. These Relativities are sick. They go really far. Oh, I wish I could see this finish. Man, hitting the trees. That was gonna go really far. All right, we have the Delirium, the Tantrum, and the Excite. Also really like the Delirium. Been throwing this one for a few weeks now. Getting her to flip. Oh, hitting the tree again, man. These things are flying really nice, actually, at least certain molds. We've got the Tantrum. I mean, you guys are seeing it here. I don't even have all that fast an arm, and I'm getting these to like turn and full flight, at least some of the molds. So maybe a lot of you guys are missing out when you don't even try these 14.5 speeds. Not flying so bad, honestly. Oh, that's crushed. Pick up. That is so far. Skip. Dude, that Excite just went so far. Very impressed with these super wide drivers so far. All right, so the Relativity landed just about over here. This was pure hyzer, about give or take 400 feet. And then this Excite actually landed outside of the mode green area, landed in the rough, pretty close to this hole 5 basket here. And that was an absolute crush, somewhere between like 415, 420-ish. Anyway, Excite. So I have a ton of really fun content ideas that I want to do with these 14.5 speed drivers. I want to go out and play some rounds using only these as my main distance drivers. I need to spend a little bit more time getting acquainted to them. So that was the, this is the early stages of some of the content that I'm going to make with these super fast drivers. I can already say my favorite mold so far is going to be this Relativity in the Neutron and the Proton plastic. Actually very throwable for someone who throws in the low to mid 60s. So that was a real surprise for me. And I feel like without the wind and in calm conditions, I can absolutely smack these things for some really nice distance lines. And although they do fade and skip pretty hard, not getting insane, unmanageable skips. So I actually think I could play pretty well with these guys as my main distance drivers. Next favorite, Delirium. As this is as dead straight for me as a 14.5 speed can be. I can get this thing to turn, flip up, and then have a nice consistent fade at the end. It says it's a 14.55, 0.53, which I don't know if is 100% accurate. I feel like it's quite a bit more straight than that. At least this one in particular is. And then obviously the patent pending super domey runs, they're going to be super useful. The one that I dislike, I will say dislike, is this teleport. It doesn't fly anything like the flight numbers. It is just ridiculously overstable. I can throw a putter farther than I can throw the teleport. I can throw a putter farther than I can throw the limit. So they're not going to be super handy out on the course. So we're going to put them in the bag for maybe some flex shots, but they probably won't see a ton of use in a 14.5 speed driver only tournament or only round. Dimension, right in between the teleport and some of the other ones. We'll see how much use this guy gets. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know a lot of you guys haven't tried the 14.5 speed, so I thought it would be super useful to at least showcase all of them for you guys and then give you my thoughts on how they're flying. Anyway, stay humble, live with gratitude. I'll catch you in the next one, and take care.